Alright guys, we're making it into the game for its MMUGG versus Swagvicious. That's the first of all, it's going to be the Metropolitan of Manchester against Manchester Imperials. So as you got here, quite a little bit of a derby right now. So quite an exciting game coming up. Iskandra, how do you think that this is going to turn out? Who do you think might win this game?
I don't know. It's hard to tell. You've got a good set of players on both teams. You've got a couple of diamonds, or I think that side is MMUG. Oh no, so Swagvicious. They're the no, Swagvicious is the lower seeds. Yeah, MMUG have the two diamonds, and Swagvicious has got a challenger tier 3v3 player. So it's quite a little bit of an exotic member of the Swagvicious team there. But obviously, the mechanics will carry over from challenger tier 3v3 into 5v5. So if you know, being a challenger does make you mechanically good, a good player, no matter what division you're in. Because challenger is a difficult league to get in anyway, and 3v3 is quite a mechanically intense game mode. Although I have never seen these guys play before, so I'm not sure what we're going to see, or if there's anything in particular that these guys like to play. But Shelook, level 18, is a Diamond 1 player, currently sitting at 10 points, was Platinum last season and played a lot of mid lanes. So I think he's their mid laner, and I think he's quite versed on the classic mid laners like Orianna and Lux and things like that. So it'll be good to see if he brings out some pretty good mid lane plays. And apparently we can't. Okay, if you can't hear me on stream, I apologize. Try and sort my mic out soon. But we're going into the game now, guys. So we'll get into picks and bans fairly soon. What are you expecting to see?
Uh, Looking at the teams right now, it's very hard to tell who's going to pull ahead because the teams are quite inconsistent with the level of the what players are who. We've got gold players on Cardiff side, ouch, against with some diamond players, but you've got a challenger player with a lot of plats. So there's quite a lot of inconsistent experience and level with the teams here right now. So we're going to see as to how it is. And
Yeah,
looking at the bans right now, Riven being banned, very, very interesting. Look, it must be a respectful ban versus the Imperial College right now. And if I can just
y-
get this to hurry up and work.
right, okay, guys. We're having a bit of a problem with the stream right there. Riven could be a respect ban. Maybe they've played it a couple of times and it's snowballed out of control in the last few games. I mean, Riven is one of those top laners that, if any of you follow Better Riven NA, he basically solely plays Riven, obviously, as the name suggests. And he can snowball lanes from one kill. And I don't think it's the kind of lane, and if you're very good at Riven, it's hard to get back in that lane because she has that sort of zoning potential with her wings, her Q and her key striking, as well as her Valor. Um, Corki and Shen and Orianna being banned out. Orianna being banned out because she looked level 18, has played it in the last two games. Maybe this is one of his more preferable mid champions. He is, I think, the mid laner for MMUG, and he is probably their best player. But Vinny the Noob is also in Diamond, so he's pretty decent as well. So there's nothing to scratch your nose at being in Diamond 5. I haven't made it yet. I'm still in Platinum 3, working my way there. But yeah, most of these guys are sitting in that level. There's a couple of golds and a couple of platinums either side, but it should be a close matchup. Swagvish has actually knocked out our top seed for the top 16. It was their sister team, Scarred for Life. But that was a seed given to because Imperial have played in our previous tournaments, and I think the B team actually had a slightly higher skill level than the A team. So Swagvicious, being our lowest seed in the tournament, actually have done very well to get to this stage of the game. And actually, because this is the semi-finals, they have already qualified for our Super 8. So no matter what happens to these two teams, both of them will be in our Super 8 come the rest of the season.
Right now, looking at the Super 8, we've got some really strong teams in there. Like, these two teams are going to be in Super 8, along with ACOG in Manchester. So, I mean, looking at the teams, we do have very, very scary teams in the Super 8, and it's going to be very close compared to last season, where it was like the top four teams were always in the top four, and that was how it was for about half a season because of how dominant the players were. Hopefully this season, because there's so many teams, there's so many players together, there's going to be a lot more variation, and we're going to see some really interesting matches in the future.
The Heimer dongle being hovered over here, but he's actually going to switch over to the Nocturne, which is what we expected. Lee Sin being taken away for a lane, though, that has probably revealed that you don't tend to see Nocturne in lanes. So Lee Sin probably being picked up to try and counter the Zed. It's something that it does quite well against Zed. Zed doesn't do very well against high mobility champions. Like Lee Sin, who has got his good amount of lifesteal and got the slow and attack speed, as well as the execute. So if Lee Sin has a really big burst potential, which is actually what Zed it struggles with, because he's quite a low health based champion. Doesn't look like Zyra is being picked up with Caitlyn. If that is a Zyra support, that's a pretty intense bot lane, especially if the Zyra is played well. That poke and that catch potential for the top lane is pretty strong.
Yeah, looking at Zyra, they have a lot of disengage from that. If you look at Nocturne and Lee Sin, they want to try and get in about, Emero's face right now. They've got the Lee Sin, they've got Nocturne, they're going to have maybe a Son of Vayne, possibly. So they're going to have a lot of team fight skirmishes, and they're very, very aggressive. But looking at Zyra, as soon as Zyra lands down her grasping roots, she's going to be able to completely disengage most team fights.
Yeah, and Vayne and Sona being hovered over here, those are two very solid champions in the bot lane, and Vayne does quite well when partnered with the sustain of Sona. She needs it to kind of keep herself up in lane. So yeah, Sona and Vayne are good pickups here from the Imperial side, and actually should be able to hold their own pretty decently against the Caitlyn and a Zyra lane. But looks Tarek's being hovered over here. I don't think this is going to be a Tarek jungle. I will genuinely love to watch this match if it is, unless that's a Zyra mid lane and Tarek support.
Looking at Zyra as a mid laner, it's very difficult for Zyra as a mid laner at times because she's so squishy, and if she misses her ultimate or she misses her grasping roots, she's just gonna get blown up very, very fast.
Just like Blitzcrank is just being hovered over here. No, going to head over to the Zac. So it's going to be Zyra support. It's going to be Zed mid lane. It's going to be Jax top, and it's going to be Zac in the jungle. As far as I would tell, unless they stick the Jax in the jungle, which is going to be slightly odd. Now you are a avid top lane Jax player, so once we see the top lane pickup for Imperial, you can give us a bit of an insight into how you think that match fight will go. And you're a very good Jax player, so you know exactly how he's going to have to play to win this lane.
As a player who has been playing Jax in Diamond, Jax is very strong in the sense of that he has a split push potential. If he gets fed early, the game's very, very difficult to then stop him. What they need is somebody top lane who can shut him down early, and for them to push down his turret and just completely negate him early game, so that they can then push objectives elsewhere, leave Jax in a lane of his own, and just completely overlap the rest of the game, take down mid, get dragon, get bot lane. You've got to push them into a tight corner and get objectives early, because Jax is very weak early in comparison to someone like Lee Sin or Gragas. So
yeah, it does look like Lee Sin could be heading into the top lane, into the mid lane, unless we see a top lane-esque Gragas, which is what a kind of a Voyboy type style that he made popular. But I would be expecting to see Lee Sin go into the top lane here, and Gragas go up against She-Look level 18 on Zed. Gragas versus Zed is a pretty decent matchup. Gragas obviously gets a damage reduction when he chugs his Ale from the cask, which is his W spell. He gets a bit of health and mana back, because obviously his passive gives him health back when he uses a spell. And he gets the damage reduction as well as the bonus AD. So Gragas is a pretty decent champion to put up against Zed, especially with the poke from his barrel toss into explosive cask when he needs to either engage or disengage when Zed uses death mark. So it's a pretty decent champion to pick into him there. What do you think about the Lee Sin versus Jax matchup though?
Back when Lee Sin had his armor on his shield, Lee Sin used to dominate Jax. It wasn't fair on Jax, because all you would need to do is possibly max either your E, which is your Tempest, and if you were to max that, even if it was what you prefer to do, because of the way that the minions are blocking your resonating strike, or your sonic wave to resonate and strike, if you max the Tempest, you cripple him to stop his attack speed, and you just trade with Jax, get him very low, and it means that he's very vulnerable all the time when he goes in for these trades. So it's going to be one of these things where if Jax gets behind, Lee Sin is going to completely stop him in his tracks. But looking at the items now, you've got Trinity Force and Blade of the Ruin King, which are both extremely strong items now. Trinity Force got buffed recently, as you know, and well, got nerfed in the most recent patch, but still a very strong item compared to what it used to be. And Lee Sin not being as potent as he used to be back when Lee Sin top lane was a thing. We're gonna have to rely. They're gonna have to rely on Lee Sin's mechanics in game pressure top lane to shut down Jax, along with Nocturne having to camp the lane to shut down Jax really early, to take him out of the game early enough so that they can then pressure objectives elsewhere.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of Imperial's composition here, the only one that scales that well into late game is the Vayne. Everyone else right there is pretty mid-gamey type champions. So Lee Sin, obviously, his damage spikes in the mid game. Gragas' damage spikes in the mid game because of his AP scaling ratios not being absolutely fantastic. And Nocturne is going to build tanky, so bar the bonus AD that he gets from his Duskbringer, he's probably not going to be getting too crazy in terms of his damage, bar the early and mid game. On the other hand, there is 3 champions that scale incredibly well into the late game for MMUG, and that's Zac, Zed, and Jax. All of them are incredible late game champions, and Jax really being a late game champion because he gets the bonus attack speed on auto attack. He gets every 3 attacks post 6. He gets the magic damage, as well as the empowered strike being on about a 2.5 second cooldown at max rank. It's going to be hard for Imperial to deal with if they don't shut them down early. But the thing is, they haven't really split their team properly because they've got a Vayne who takes ages to get into the game and to do her crazy damage, unless she gets fed. The rest of the team are going to have to look to carry her through that mid game.
Yeah, and looking at the team, Lee Sin's going to be quite strong early to mid, and late game he will either be an assassin or a peel for Vayne when someone like Jax or Zed jumps onto Vayne. Nocturne is the point of focus here because he's got 2 build paths. He can either go like the Meteor style jungle where he goes very tanky, he farms up the jungle and then helps lanes out, or he goes carry mode, he goes like Brutalizer, Madrid, and he just tries to like aggressively gank and kill people early, snowballs him into almost like an assassin. So we'll need to see as to how Nocturne is going to be building into this game. And hopefully, I believe he will be going into that more tank, try and get a Randon's Omen to just stop the other team from becoming a threat late game. Randuin's being a primary focus because they have 3 orientated champions who all use auto attacks to their best advantages.
Yeah, I mean, essentially, again, this is going to be one of those matchups that we've seen a couple of times in the match. It's going to be this early game matchup versus this late game matchup, and it's far really most of it's gone over to the early game, just because of how powerful they've been enforcing these team objectives. I haven't seen, bar the Cardiff game, a late game team comp duke it out until late game, because technically Cardiff got ahead in the early game, so really it didn't matter too much. But I haven't seen a late game team comp where they've intentionally not tried to be aggressive and then kept it until they farmed, and really that's one of the types that MMUG is employing here. But Imperial are going to be good as well. Imperial have got Vayne, and if they can peel for Vayne using the Gragas Explosive Cask and the Lee Sin's Tempest and Cripple, should be able to do right and stand up to them. But Vayne's going to have to be really careful for the assassination potential of the Zac and the Zed combining.
Another thing is that with Lee Sin and Nocturne and you've got Gragas, a lot of objectives around Baron area and Dragon are going to be very difficult due to the fact that Nocturne does have his Hysteria and he does have Paranoia. So he's going to be completely shutting down the map for all the types of like. So no one's going to be able to see much on the map, and Gragas does have his barrel roll and his explosive casket. So objective taking or objective stealing in this kind of way is going to be very easy for Manchester Imperial.
Yeah, and now we've got a bit of level 1 Duke coming out. We've seen some level 1 action every game so far, and I'd be disappointed if we don't get to see any more, because they're always good fun. But no wards have come out as of yet. Sona has just wanted that brush. Looks like they're trying to be fairly defensive. I don't think they want to give away Nocturne's blue buff, because he is quite a mana-hungry jungler. What do you think here? Because it looks like everyone's going a bit defensive. But Imperial is now grouping up. It looks like they're going to head round. Q comes out. The Caitlyn does see it, doesn't quite connect with her, and they're going to back off. So yeah, I think this is going to be a fairly defensive start for both teams. And sorry, just to clarify, Swagvicious is London Imperial, Manchester is Manchester Metropolitan. I said Manchester and Imperial, sorry guys if you got a little bit confused there. Yeah, Vayne and Sona are just going to get a pull over for Nocturne. He's going to have to use his Dustbringer and just get this blue buff down. Probably head towards the top lane at level 3, as you tend to see with most teams. It doesn't look like anyone is really gearing up for a buff here for Manchester. They're all just covering the entrances, maybe looking for that late invade. I think now Zach is going to move. Zach is going to move over to his red buff and then head over to his blue buff and maybe try and meet Nocturne in the top lane. Who are you going to give that over to though if that happens?
If you're wanting to try and transfer these buffs, right now you don't want to be giving any buffs over to anyone other than your junglers right now. Right now it seems like Nocturne's wanting to go for his blue, his red, and then go straight top. As you can see, Jax and Lee are going straight up top, and what happens right now is you've got this mirrored image. Jax is doing his red, Nocturne's doing blue. They're both going to get smiteless and then go to their next buffs, and they're going to meet top lane, and this is the best part of the game, in the early game should I say, where there's going to be a fight. So
yeah, it looks like Zed's getting a good amount of damage onto this Gragas early on. Gragas actually started Drunken Rage, so he's going to be getting a mana and health back. I don't know if he wants to go aggressive at all at the moment. Lee Sin just going to get the Q on to the Jax. He hit level 2 and he timed that perfectly. Vinny the Noob just using his counter strike to get away. Zach's taken his blue buff very quickly. Looks like Nocturne is not going to head to top. He's going to head towards that mid lane. Zach comes into the top lane, tries to catch the Lee Sin out with a Q. Lee Sin actually got slowed there, but chose not to follow it up. I think Vinny the Noob was still level 1. Didn't want to get caught out with a Q and an Ignite from the Lee Sin. Lee Sin going really quite hard right now. Wow, great Tempest. It avoids the tower hit as well. I don't know if Zach's going to come back round. Yes, he is. Is he going to be able to get anything off on this Lee Sin? This Jax is very low. Is he going to get a counter strike on? Yes, he has jumped on the counter strike. Lee Sin gets caught out right now. I think he's going to go down. He misses the Q. Lee Sin takes a tower shot, flashes away. He's going to survive with a sliver of health and a flash and a unstable matter. Manages to finish him off from Zach. So really well played. Lee Sin getting taken out and playing a little bit too cocky in that front top lane.
well, what I found quite odd was the fact that Nocturne did not go top lane. In that kind of situation, Zed was starting red, going to blue, go straight top lane, and as you could see, Jax managed to get an advantage of that because Lee Sin does have to play very aggressive early game. And because Nocturne wasn't there, he couldn't counter gank.
Yeah, and Nocturne tried to go on the Zed, who is slightly harder to go. It looks like a flash and a body slam coming out from the Gragas, but no mana to finish up with a barrel roll. We will organise the scoreboard for you in a second, guys. I know you guys get a little bit pedantic when it's not lined up all properly, but Zed actually surviving with a sliver of life right there and is choosing just to back away. So yeah, I mean, apart from that early gank, it looks like every other lane is just sort of duking it out a little bit. It looks like Sona and Vayne are being backed out quite hard. Vayne currently on 21 CS though, so not too far behind the Caitlyn, using that tumble to good efficiency for farming. And looks like we're just finishing up sorting the scoreboard for you guys. Hopefully everything is in order for you there, so you won't be too unhappy. Looks like Lee Sin is just trying to clear out that minion wave so Nocturne can come in for the gank, but I don't know if Jax is going to fall for it. Jax now has the slight advantage in lane, even though Lee Sin is just going on to win the Tempest and Creepy. He's looking to get in. The counter strike does land. He follows it up with a Sonic Wave and Resonating Strike, but he's just going to back out from the lane. And right now, Jax is having a bit of a hard time with Lee Sin's early game. It looks like he's going in on him again. Jax taking every opportunity to safeguard in and use that Tempest and Cripple. Not getting off the auto attacks in between those, so he's not actually getting the energy regen that you'd want from a Lee Sin in that top lane.
See, this is the thing when it comes to Lee Sin is top lane. He's got to be really aggressive, he's got to push, and then he's got to do something else. As you can see, Lee Sin's then moving away from top lane. He pushes the wave in, goes down top lane, and then now he's warding for the blue buff, so now he knows exactly where the jungler is going to be most of the time. At this point though, they haven't really managed to get a kill onto Jax, so Jax is just going to sit and farm. If we look at Jax right now,
looks like Vayne gets a tumble and condemn onto these Irish. He's taken really low I don't know if they're going to follow up because Sona actually took a bit of damage right there. Plan just doing that little bit extra damage to the Zyra, but she has got the health pots to try and sustain back up, so I don't think she's going to get forced out of lane just yet. But, sorry, carry on, Space.
What I was going to say is, right there, that's when things start to get very, very awkward in lane, because the 2 AD carries full HP, although the 2 supports are starting to get quite low.
Yeah.
The advantage is that Sona does have it. Now we're going to actually enter a fight here.
There's no wards for the Vayne. She flashes out of the Zac E, just managing to avoid the slingshot. Looks like she's all using attack moves, so she managed to attack the minion instead of the champion. Zac just backing out at the last minute. Managed to force both flashes though, so you can bet that he'll be back. Farm right now though, currently at 6 minutes, both AD carries heading towards that 50 farm. Not doing too badly. Tumble just being saved up there to finish off the last minion. She actually missed the siege minion, which isn't good for an AD carry, and Caitlyn's just punishing her by using her excessive range, come in and get a couple of auto attacks on her. She has the headshot, she wants to use it on the Vayne, and she does.
Yeah, she wants to push that right up to the turret and abuse that crazy range that Caitlyn has, just so that she can start getting some harass down and deny Vayne the minions, because even though she does have Sona, there's going to be a point where Sona does run out of mana, so there won't be as much sustain. She is running lifesteal quints, as I can tell. Yep, she's running 4%, so that's 2 quints.
Looks like Gragas is going in onto the Z in the middle lane, but Zac is coming in to try and get a gank. It looks like he's going to try and back over towards the blue buff of the Nocturne. He is heading down there though. I don't know if Zac's going to be able to take it quick enough. Zed is pushing up that mid lane to give him the map control. I think Zac's going to go for it. He is level 6, Nocturne is not. Wow, Nocturne has just shown himself. I think he wanted to sit in the brush and wait to try and smite it. Zac's just going to elastic slingshot away, and Nocturne is just going to turn around and take this for himself. Or possibly donate it over to Gragas.
At that point, Nocturne was actually, if he was looking to teamfight that, it was a very scary position, because Nocturne actually was by himself. Even if he did get assisted by Gragas, bottom lane, Caitlyn and Zyra were right there to come up to assist Zac. So it was actually quite difficult to say what they could have done right there.
Yeah, it looks like Jax has now hit that level 6 potential that he has. He's got a Doran's Blade and a Ruby Crystal right now. Lee Sin currently still only sitting on a longsword and a couple of pots, but he is sitting 10 CS ahead. Lee Sin's going to struggle now post 6, I think, unless he can get the damage off and use his Dragon's Rage kick to get the damage down and possibly try and execute the Jax. But right now I think Jax is in a better position.
Yeah, right now, this is when Jax starts to get scary. He's level 7. When he hits about level 8 or 9, that's when you really feel the power spike. He gets a phage, and he just becomes extremely hard to deal with, especially when you're Lee Sin. And Lee Sin hasn't actually went back, other than the fact when he got killed. So he's actually behind on items right now compared to Jax.
Yeah, I think right now Lee Sin's going to be looking to try and just sustain it out and get a kill with a gank to push himself a little bit further ahead into the mid game. If he lets Jax continue as he is now, he's going to have a problem. It doesn't look like the bot lane are pushing up. Caitlyn did go back to finish up that BF sword. Vayne, on the other hand, has just got a Bilgewater Cutlass. Doesn't mean that Caitlyn's going to have the slight advantage in terms of the lane presence right now. Bilgewater Cutlass, good in skirmishes and in lane poke trading. Gragas is now coming back to lane, currently sitting on 65 CS. CS across the board is pretty even though, to be fair.
Yeah, when you're Gragas in mid lane against Zed, both of you have extreme amounts of bursts.
Oh, wow,
right there.
Brilliant. Deathmark comes in onto the Gragas. He's taken pretty low. He's not going to get the damage on. Gragas flash body slams, messes that up a little bit, and I think right now they're just going to say, right, okay, both of us screwed up a little bit there. We'll just leave it at that. Does look like Nocturne tries to ult into the bottom, but there is the Zac to try and counter gank. Do look like they got a kill. They got a kill onto the Vayne. Vayne picks up 1. Nocturne picks up 2 actually. Vayne was trying to finish off. Vayne is really, really low right now. Isn't unstable matter going to finish off. Zac's passive is pop. This could be a triple kill going over to the Nocturne. Could be looking to build a carry build right there. Zed is trying to come down and try and do something about it, but it's just let Gragas push his lane out. Probably should have stayed in the lane, and he's going to lose a little bit of tower damage right now.
It was a brilliant gank from Nocturne there, managing to actually get off the paranoia and get straight onto the carries. It was just a very, very scary gank right there. And now Nocturne with 3 kills, he has so much options in when it comes open now. He can build carry now, he can build tank, but he's going to be scary no matter how he builds at this point in the game, as long as it's viable. And yeah,
one combo on Jax in the top lane. gave Lee Sin a complete beating. Lee Sin has picked up the Tiamat, however, so he's going to be doing a good amount of wave clear, but that one combo half-healthed him, and that's because Jax has picked up the health from the Dorans and the Ruby Crystal, whereas Lee Sin currently sitting on none. But right now the bot lane is going to be struggling because Vayne picked up a good few assists there. She picked up a Berserker's Greaves. She's not going to be struggling too much to the extent anymore, but Nocturne should be looking to make another gank there when his paranoia's up, because I think a lot of summers were wasting that exchange.
Yeah, definitely, but when you're thinking about, oh, you got a great gank on bot lane with Nocturne getting ahead, all you can hear right now is the tick, 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 tick. Jax is getting stronger, and what are we going to do?
Zac is coming in, a great route from the Zarya. I think Vayne's going to go down to the ace in the hole, and that is just a good gank for Zac. Lack of vision in the side brush from the purple side team, and Imperial lose their Vayne, and that's a kill going into the Caitlyn, putting her ahead of the Vayne in terms of global gold. Does look like Gragas got engaged on in the mid lane too, but nothing too much crazy going on there.
Yeah.
Zac looking like he's going to ward up, because he knows that the blue buff is going to be spawning soon.
Yeah, right there. Bottom lane is just all action. There's just everyone's wanting to gank that lane, and you even seen that Zed came down at one point just to kind of see if he can find anything. So no summoners are really bot lane, other than the fact that Sona has flash. So both supports now have flash.
Zac's jumping in. He manages to just miss his elastic slingshot. Fear comes out onto the Nocturne. Nocturne uses his paranoia to get onto the Caitlyn. Finishes up with the Dustbringer. Zac doesn't have passive down. He doesn't have red buff. Nocturne has red buff. Is Zac going to get away with the flash? Yes, he does. I'm not sure Nocturne can follow up. And wow, we just missed a bit of action in the mid lane too. Gragas and Lee Sin managed to combo to take out the Zed. Looks like Jax is coming in. He should have just been pushing the top lane though.
Right there was two actions going on at once. I actually caught the Zed death right in the mid lane, missed the bot lane kill. So crazy ass stuff happens sadly when you've got Spectator mode. You can only catch one kill at the same time. So looking at this now, Zac on 2 kills, but he's not really a carry. It's nice to have Zac with kills, but when you got Nocturne, it's 4-0. This is scary.
Oh wow, jumping in onto the Vayne. Vayne is tanking the tower right now. I think she's going to be screaming at her jungler. I think Nocturne's going to go in onto the Zac. I don't know if Zac has his passes up yet. Yeah, I don't think he does. Nocturne's just going to back away from this. And to be honest, he needs to escape pretty quickly because Zac is going to try and catch him out. Caitlyn is coming into him. I think Nocturne is just going to run away. I don't know if he'll get away. Has he got the mana for Dustbringer? Can Zac slow him down? Not quite, and that was a good little turnaround from the Nocturne right there. Just managing to predict the movements of the Zac, because he managed to see him casting his elastic slingshot from the turret, and he's just going to run away with his Dustbringer. He's currently 4-0-1. Probably not the best person to have the kills on, but then reflectively, Zac's 3-1-1, so both the kills going off the junglers, but Nocturne probably more of a hard carry into the mid game.
Yeah, definitely. Once Nocturne has his core tank builds as the Meteos style jungle, as they would call it, once he has his golem, he's got his tabby now, he could probably go Aegis next. And once he has that, he can think of things like maybe Randuin's, or even a Blade of the Ruin King. I want to talk more about the bot lane right there. When Vayne went onto him, I think there was a little bit of miscommunication, because as Nocturne backed away from turret, getting away the range of the aggro, Vayne tanked that turret the entire time, and that's the only reason as to why she died. They could have actually got a double kill from that.
Wow, Vayne gets a condemn onto the Marzara, but it's not going to go in on it. Just going to choose to take the harassment back off. Jack's going onto the Lee Sin. Lee Sin's currently sitting 1 level ahead. He's got his level 2 ultimate. He probably could have the upper hand in this fight. Zyra's doing a really good job of retaining side lane vision, but not that it matters because they're pushing up the lane pretty hard. Gragas just using his explosive barrels to try and get onto the Zed. Using that body slam at every given opportunity. He's actually leveling it up in unison with his Drunken Rage. So Drunken Rage now level 2 as well as the body slam. Lee Sin just trying to get onto this. Tempest actually doing a good amount of damage now. Both Tempest and Sonic Strike is level 4. But Zyra gets taken out by the lane. Just choosing to back off after the Sony uses the ultimate onto the Caitlyn. Just because I don't think they wanted to tank the turrets right there. It's a great pickup for the Vayne. She's now 2-3-3. Despite the fact she's died a lot, she's doing really well on the other side. But Jax managing to pick up a kill in the top lane with Zac. Just a combination of the counter strike into the elastic slingshot. And I think they're probably going to look to push this top lane turret. Nocturne though is moving around. Maybe looking to get a gank on the bot lane or getting a gank on the top lane, the mid lane.
They really want to get this dragon right now. They know Zac's top lane to go take that turret with Jax. They want to try and get this objective and possibly go push down bot lane. As I said before, you can hear the ticking because Jax is starting to get quite strong. So is Vayne, but right now Jax is the most immediate threat.
explosive cast comes out onto the Gragas. Gragas using body slam really potently right here. Looks like they're going to use Paranoia to try and get onto the Caitlyn, but she gets out of vision range pretty quickly, so that was a stupid well, not stupid, like an odd Paranoia from the Nocturne right there. Looks like there's both a bit of a engage going on in the mid lane, so really a bit of hit and miss from both sides right there.
Mid lane's just been very much a 1v1 lane right now. Gragas having small advantage, but at the same time it's just been so, who's actually going to get the first kill in a 1v1 scenario, because they're both very aggressive players and they both really want to get that advantage.
Yeah, Gragas making some really good plays with his explosive cast right now. Actually opting to go for Athenes after the Seeker's Arm Guard, just saying, do you know what? I think that the armor is enough. I don't need the Zhonya's to survive against Zac. He's not that far ahead of Zed right now. He's not that far ahead of me. And that's a pretty good choice, I think, because the cooldown reduction really benefits Gragas. It means he can just chuck out those barrels constantly. And if you think that his ultimate is on quite a short cooldown, it just makes it even more potent when going into teamfights, because it's currently sitting on about a 4-second cooldown. With a 20% cooldown reduction, you're going to be looking at like a 45-second ultimate.
Yeah, and also when you have Athenes and a death cap, your wave clear becomes absolutely insane. So when they're going to look to siege, Gragas throws out a barrel and half your creep wave is already gone.
Zed's in a bit of trouble here. Explosive cast completely missed. I think he's going to try and get away over the Wraith Cap. I don't know if he knows if Lee Sin's there. Lee Sin probably not going to go in with him. I think Zed's now stuck in that side of the jungle. Is he going to be able to get away? He's still got his Shadow Dash up. He tries to use Deathmark to try and juke out of the Gragas body slam. Does it quite well, actually, because it does means it saved his life.
Down in the bot lane, actually, there was an engage going on, but Crescendo managed to save both Sona and Vayne right there, escaping with no summoners blown. So all in all, very smooth from Sona right there.
Yeah, and now Zac is just moving into the bot lane to try and siege down this turret. It's got 164 HP, so a couple of more attacks from the Caitlyn will finish it off. One more attack should take it down. Does go down, but Nocturne is there. Vayne blows her ultimate. She just managed to get around Zyra's Wild Grape, but I think they're just going to back out of it right now, because the Vayne ultimate is not a big cooldown to waste.
It's not also that, but Paranoia was down as well. So even if they wanted to fight that, there wasn't actually any kind of follow-up from Nocturne to get there. So they just wanted to back out because they don't actually have the cooldowns.
Does look like Gragas is doing a good amount of damage to Zed in the mid lane, but he does return with a good amount of damage to himself. You've got to remember that Gragas gets 4% of his maximum health, 2% of his maximum health, sorry, over 4 seconds every time he casts an ability. So once you get cooldown reduction, you're actually got a pretty good thing. But it looks like Nocturne's going pretty hard into the Zed in the middle. He uses his Living Shadow to just get away right at the last minute when the fear is about to strike. Looks like Zac returned with a good gank in the bot lane. That's a double kill, and another kill going into Zac, and a kill going into Caitlyn. Yep. Not what the Vayne wants right now.
It's a very strong gank from Zac right there, getting a slingshot on Nen, using Let's Bounce onto Vayne, pushing her back, and just being able to just lock them down and get enough damage to kill both of them right there. Vayne and Sona were just overextended right there.
Yeah, and I think so too. I think, unfortunately for Vayne, they've just been pushing themselves a little bit too far without the ward coverage to appropriately respect Zac's elastic slingshot. And to be honest, right now, that's another turret going down for Vayne. Doesn't mean they can freeze the lane, but it is going to mean they're going to give up a load of global objectives on the other side. But looks like there's going to be a gank from the Gragas. He misses his flash body slam, but I think he's going to be able to take out the Zyra. The Ignite is ticking. Zed is coming down to try and counteract that, though. Right now, it doesn't look good for Imperial. I think Zed is just going to back out, though. And right now, I think the advantage is distinctly in favour of MMUGG, because Vayne is, although sitting on 2 items right now, she's going to need a lot of gold to get into her big, scary late game stage, whereas Caitlyn is almost at the infinity edge, and once she hits that, she's going to have a good amount of mid-game damage. Doesn't like Jax managed to steal away the red buff from the Lee Sin, who's trying to steal it away from him. I don't know if Lee Sin's going to be able to catch him. He does get a ward jump over the wall. Ignite comes down. Is he going to be able to get Dragon Rage kick? Nocturne gets the hit off. Is he going to follow up with the execute? Yes, he does, and that's a blue buff being transferred over to the Lee Sin. And really, that was a bit of a balls deep try and steal from the Jax.
It's right there. Just as you can see, it's like things are starting to go a bit odd. Now that Imperial has gotten back all these objectives, they're actually now ahead in gold. We're starting to see very even game.
Yeah, and that's exactly what MMG Imperial need right now. They need to go even into the mid game because they have the better mid game team, but the Vayne is going to be a target. And if the Vayne can get the kills at the end of team fights, they're going to be getting her snowballing into that mid game, the late game presence that she has. And once she finishes that Phantom Dancer, that's exactly what she's going to do. But it's like he's charging up his elastic slingshot. Actually misses because he didn't go too far with it. Zed is got his death mark up, so he can assassinate the Vayne if he likes. That bottom tower has gone down now. It does look like they want to go in on this Zac. He takes a load of damage from the Vayne. Great finishing up the silver bolts from her. It does look like Lee Sin has responded and taken the top lane tower too. Another chunk of global gold going over to Imperial, and they're currently sitting on a tiny gold lead right now, about 1.5k.
Yeah, looking at Lee Sin right now, he does have about 40 CS over Jax right now. So Jax only having a Trinity Force doesn't give him so much power into the ideas where when he has to play the Rune King, he can chase people down. He's only got like the Phage and the Sheen doesn't really give him that much staying power, nor the chasing power. So we won't see Jax doing very much until he does have Blade of the Rune King, or maybe a Randuin's next.
Yeah, Zac hasn't actually finished up a jungle item yet. He opted to go for Spirit Visage first, which is odd considering the only magic damage on the team is Gragas. So he's then looking like he's building into a Randuin's, but he has no tenacity. And Zac's ultimate no longer grants extra tenacity. So he's actually going to be getting locked up pretty hard by the CC. And that's longer than he should be getting locked up for. So odd build choice for the Zac. It doesn't like... Instead of the dragon, they're just going to try and force this mid lane turret. Lee Sin is caught out by himself. Is Zac going to let's bounce while he's there? Lee Sin lands a Q onto the Zarya, goes in on it, but he gets caught out by the Jax's counter strike. But he manages to get a death mark on him. Is he going to go down? I don't know. Lee Sin is taken down by the death mark, but Vayne is in the middle of the fight. She's getting eaten up by the Jax right now. Uses her condemn to hit him away, but I think right now the overall team fight is going over to 1-for-1. Actually, I thought it ended up a lot worse than that. But really, a good amount of pressure applied by the MMG U-turn.
Yeah, right there. Lee Sin went straight in. He went behind and used his dragon kick just so he could disrupt everybody and get some damage off, so he could get the turret aggro also and force a fight. They were right in the turret and they really wanted to have a fight there. As I was saying, was that Jax doesn't have his Blade of the Rune King yet. So as you've seen, Vayne all he needed to do was condemn and walk away from him, because he had absolutely no way of getting back on top of her because he already used the Leap Strike and Counter Strike.
Yeah, and to be honest, right now, I'm not sure who's going to win this out in the late game because Vayne is scary, but so is Jax and Zed. I think it's very even. I would probably give it over the team fight being slightly better for MMGU, just because Zac has that really good late game disruption using Let's Bounce and the Elastic Slingshot and the Stretching Strike. But it's all mechanical based. I think it's a bit of a skill matchup in terms of which team is going to perform better, because Gragas has great disruption. And Imperial's got really good peel for Vayne. So with the explosive cask, he can peel for the Vayne and the Fear, as well as Lee Sin's 10% cripple, which is really good at slowing people down, and the Sonar ultimate. So it's just a bit of a skill matchup here. I think overall I'll probably give it to MMGU, but both teams are doing really well in terms of their teamfight potential.
Yeah, looking teamfight potential, there's so much mobility from Manchester Metro right now. I mean, they do have the Zed. As soon as he goes into Deathmark, unvulnerable. So when Gragas does throw out the explosive casket, he can just nullify that quickly, and he still stays on top of Gragas. Vayne right now is going to be quite... it doesn't have enough defensive stats nor mobility to get away from Zed. Even if Zed doesn't actually have a Last Whisper yet, he still is doing all the damage.
Does look like they are rotating and doing a good rotation. They're pushing down that mid lane, trying to take that mid lane turret away from MMGU right now. It's a good way. They're just trying to zone them out, trying to force them to go the long way around, which gives them a little bit of time to clear the minion wave. Zyra is completely out of position here. Is there going to be an engagement with the Zac Elastic Slingshot? I'm not sure there is, because I think they have just respected the fact that that disruption is going to be pretty big in if they just play it wrong. Vayne is currently sitting at the front of the team fight. Looks like there was a flash engage from the Gragas. His explosive cask was used completely out of the way, but a great sonar when it comes out. Gragas manages to use his Zhonya's really, really well right there. Lisa manages to kick away the Jax, and I think this team fight is really going over to Imperial right now, but everyone is so low. Is Gragas going to be able to get the kill onto the Zac? Yes, he does. Pops the passive, Zac's passive comes out, and I think this is going to be a kill for Vayne. Probably going to hand it over to the Vayne if they know what they're doing. Yeah, they are. and the blue buff and the red buff is going to steal away, and they'll probably be able to rotate round for that mid lane turret. How is that going to impact the game now, Space?
There's just a huge amount of kills like going out to there towards Imperial, so now they can start pushing down objectives, they can gear their own buffs, and they can start pushing down towers. They're going to start to like rotate all around a Metropolitan right now, so this is a really good position. Right now they're Lee Sin just tower diving Zyra. That was way too aggressive right there.
Yeah, I think he was overestimating how much damage he was going to be able to do with his Ravenous Hydra and his Last Whisper. He's now building into Giant's Belt, opted for no boots, so his movement speed is going to be slightly low. Lee Sin actually has one of the highest base movement speeds in the game at 350, so it's actually pretty decent to run in without boots, but not sure at this point in the game he's one of the characters that you should be doing that on.
Yeah, it's that kind of thing. I can see where Lee Sin's going to go. He's wanting to go straight into that Randuin's next, but he's only got boots 1, and that's been 26 minutes into the game, and he's still not got those boots 2, so his mobility will be shortened because of that. So it looks like he's going to try and either go... It's like he wants to go semi-assassin with that build, or at least peel. Because he does want to go for Randuin's right now, so Vayne is starting to get to that point too, so we'll see how that plans out.
Jax has actually picked up his Randuins, but hasn't looked to opt for that Blade of the Ruin King. Not going to go for that increased chase potential that you get from the Blade of the Ruin King. Nocturne has picked up his Randuins, and he's looking to build some more armor. Really good choice against this team, considering that most of the damage will be coming from Zed and the Jax, who are mainly AD-based champions, although Jax does have a hybrid art to him, which is obviously his skills do a lot of magic damage. Does look like there is going to be a bit of a team fight here. Everyone is gearing up. Zac has used his elastic slingshot. It looks like the Nocturne gets paranoia onto the Caitlyn. She's taken pretty low. Vayne is in the background. What a great crescendo coming out from the Sona. Explosive cast used to great ability right there. But Vayne is in the middle of things. Deathmark comes out onto the Vayne. Is she going to get taken down? No, she survives with about 10 HP and is just leeching off the minions to survive through that ignite. That went completely in Imperial's favour, and their teamfight potential is really showing in the game.
Yeah, and a great peel as well. They were all around Vayne. As soon as Zed and Jax were to go on there, they were all on top of her just to stop her from dying there. If she died, then the teamfight would have changed a tad, but overall, like, having that amount of peel for a Vayne, especially when she starts to get the Last Whisper, that's huge. And really the Lee Sin top lane is paying off in just absolute massive amounts.
Yeah, and right now Vayne is going to get really scary. She's gone positive. She's got a ton of gold to spend. Currently sitting on 1600. That's going to be finishing up her Last Whisper, and then possibly looking towards getting some defensive items. Once she's got that Last Whisper, she's in a pretty scary place. And MMUGG need to be really careful because they're currently sitting at 5k gold behind, and Dragon's spawning in 10 seconds.
Yeah, and right now, Jazz just finished his Randuins. Still doesn't have a Blade of the Ruin King. It depends on how you want to justify just how much you want that Randuins to shut down Vayne, who will try and kite you, and the passive off Randuins to shorten the attack speed and the movement speed. You really want to try and kill Vayne as quickly as possible in teamfights, and then focus the rest of the threats in the team.
Looks like it was a great drive-by smite from the Zac. He just managed to miss his light path, but a great Zyra ultimate coming out. Vayne is in the back line on the Jax, though. He's getting taken pretty low. Great crescendo being saved right until the last minute. Jax gets completely wiped off the map. Nocturne doing extreme amounts of damage in the back line, and that's another 4-for-0 exchange in favour of Imperial. Vayne chasing up he has used his Deathmark. He is probably going to take down the Nocturne. Nocturne actually surviving with a slither of health. Is Vayne going to chase up this Zed? I'm not sure. I think they're just going to call it quits and take the advantage.
Yeah, definitely. Right now, it's really Imperial's game to take home right now. It's going to be one of those things where they've managed to get these 4-0 team fights. They managed to get Baron. All it takes now is just to get these turrets, push them in really hard, and possibly take the game.
Yeah, and this is where they are pushing down the mid lane turret. They're not going to get inhibitor off this. I think they're going to back off, but they do have the regeneration from the Baron buff, and I think they're just going to steal away this blue buff and sort of not resting on their laurels. Not going to try and push themselves too far. And going to get back, buy the items they need to buy. Vayne has picked up that, interestingly, a Negatron cloak. Unsure if that was the right choice for the first part of the GA that I would have gone for. What do you think about that space?
considering the fact that Vayne went Negatron, I'm actually wait to say yeah. QSS is actually what she's going for to negate Deathmark. I was about to say if a Vayne goes a Vayne or an AD carry, for example, goes Negatron first, when you've got someone like a Zed on the enemy team, it's almost 100% they are going to go for QSS, because if you negate Deathmark instantly, most of Zed's DPS does go out of the window, and he just won't do as much damage then. So
yeah, I think right now that Zed is actually a little bit behind from where he should be in the game. He has picked up a Blade the Ring King and the Last Whisper, but considering how far Nocturne is ahead, he's not actually going to be shredding too much of Nocturne's armor, because Nocturne's nearly built his Frozen Heart. But yeah, well played for the Imperial team for doing exactly what they needed to do and protecting that Vayne. She's now 7-4-5. Picked up a QSS actually, so that's going to be looking to cleanse the Death Mark from the Zed. So looking to go not for the GA defensive item, and actually looking to go for the Mercurial Scimitar, which is a decent pickup actually, considering how you can cleanse the Death Mark from yourself if it is cast on you.
Yeah, and it does give that extra bit of DPS once he actually completes the Mercurial Scimitar. Right now we're seeing as they're trying to try and pressure this inhibitor turret. This is very scary now, and we've got the paranoia from Nocturne coming in.
Yeah, sorry guys, I was just sorting something out in chat. Yeah, Paranoia coming out from Nocturne, good amount of damage coming out on all the team. Jax gets stunned just as he even manages to flash over the wall. Vayne is going to chase him up, and looks like they're going to try and follow up with a great Lee Sin Q onto the Caitlyn. Wow, he's just doing some really good damage. Toner completely misses. Max uses his Elastic Slingshot just to get onto the Let's Bounce comes out. Wasn't used earlier in the fight. Is it going to pop the passive? Manages to flash out of the explosive barrel, and I think everyone's just going to back off and take some objectives. What do you think is going to happen from this?
They should really look to like push down the bottom turret, as you can see, or they might go in the mid lane. They can actually tank it, to be quite fair, and just get that inhibitor, then move down to bot lane and take that second tier turret. I think that's exactly what they're planning to do.
Yeah, sorry guys, I'm just sorting out. I keep banning the wrong guy in chat. I'm such an idiot. Yeah, anyway, so look like they're going to siege down this mid lane turret. They probably want to be looking to take an inhibitor. And spend. Sorry, it's just making me laugh in chat. And looks like they're going to just return and try and look to get some other objectives. I don't know if they want to get too aggressive right now. Even if they did try and dive, I think they would have the advantage. Just going to head down towards that bottom lane inner turret and look to just try and push their global gold a little bit further on. They're currently sitting at 7k. The longer this goes on, the more intense that Vayne is going to get. And when Vayne gets to that big game, late game stage, there's not a lot that can stop her, considering she's already picked up a QSS. Main damage threat, which is the Jax Counter-Strike, and the Death Zed could just be cleansed off her.
Yeah, and if you look at Manchester right now, they have two randoms on the team just for Vayne and Lee Sin and Nocturne. They are actually that scared and wanting to shut down Vayne that hard that they had to use two randoms, but it's really not paying off for them so far, because she is getting the protect that she needs so that she isn't dying in team fights.
Yeah, so she's doing a good job as well as doing great kiting. I don't know if you've seen, she's been using the Condemn at the right moment to keep the Jax away. And Jax is probably the person I would say she's most scared of. I don't know if the Zed is the biggest threat for her, because I think he can get shut down pretty hard by the Nocturne right now. Nocturne is pretty close to finishing his Frozen Heart. Once he finishes that, there's not much that's going to be killing him. And considering he's 7-1-7 right now, going to be doing some pretty good damage just from his level advantage that he's going to have over some of the members on MMGU. Think about the fact that he is currently sitting at level 15. Zyra is level 13 and Zac is level 14, so he's going to have a slight level advantage in terms of his skills as well.
Yeah, and about this stream right now, 720p is what it's been opted to right now because of the technical restrictions as right now. 1080p takes a lot out of your computer resource-wise, so I hope this is totally fine for you guys at home and that you are viewing this at decent quality.
Yeah, props to Space. He's done a really good job of probably your first major streaming using OBS as well, which you haven't been used to before. So you're doing a really good job. And one of the better jobs I've seen from the NUEL. So you're doing putting in some really good effort with your stream mode right here. It looks like Vayne is trying to bait out and engage in the bottom. I don't know if she knows that Zac and Zed are there. Zed uses the death bite. Vayne is going to cleanse that straight off. Great elastic slingshot into the Zed. She's going to get caught out a little bit here. Is she going to be able to escape from this? The exhaust goes down onto the Jack. She uses the Blade of the Ring looking to get out of the way. Caitlyn has already gone down though. Looks like they're just going to carry on onto the Zyra. Does look like Gragas is going down pretty low. Uses his zombies at a brilliant time. Vayne is managed to lifesteal her way back up. And that's just another 5 for 2 engage. And these just keep happening all day for Imperial. And that's not really what Cardiff MMGU want.
It's very weird from Imperial to opt to tower dive. What they should have done is peeled back for Vayne. Zac was on top of Vayne right there. That was a free kill for Imperial if they had just peeled back and killed him. And also it stops from their main tank from being present for things like Baron and taking that bot lane tower. So overall it was quite a sloppy team fight, even if all 5 survived that.
Yeah, and for someone suggesting that we get an independent streamer for us and we can have ourselves casting so we can stream at 1080p, it's actually harder, especially at the amateur level, to do camera control because professional camera control guys know exactly where they need to be for the team fights, and it makes it a lot easier for the casters to keep up with the action where it is. If we have a caster doing the camera control, we know exactly what we're talking about in the action. It just makes it a little bit easier for logistics. But yeah, another Baron picked up by Imperial right now. They're just stretching their gold lead out to 10k. They probably should be looking to take an inhibitor soon because right now they're stalling out, but I think they've stalled out far enough because Vayne has just picked up her Mercurial Scimitar and has only got one item to finish to get her full build.
Yeah, when you look at this right now, Vayne is very, very strong. The only item that she really has left to buy is probably going to be an Infinity Edge. Well, she might actually go GA, but right now you're looking at, you know, you've got 5 major items. This is going to be really difficult now for Manchester United to get out of this. She hasn't got her Führer attachment to her boots yet. She might opt for Home Guard. I would imagine so that she does go for just that extra bit of kite along with the Blade of the Ruin King. She's going to be very hard to jump onto once she has that.
Yeah, and MMGU are just not doing the right amount of peeling for Caitlyn right now because they've got to remember that Caitlyn is actually quite a big damage source for their team. But right now they're so focused on trying to kill a Vayne that Gragas, Nocturne and Lee Sin all have free roam of their back lane. And you've got to respect the amount of damage that Lee Sin can do, as well as the Gragas. They can probably burst the Caitlyn just as quickly as the Zed and the Jax can burst the Vayne. It's a tough area to be in, and now that Vayne has got a defensive item, it's going to be even harder, considering Caitlyn hasn't even finished her last Whisper yet.
Yeah, and looking at the mid picks right now, Zed is just not being effective anymore. Whereas Gragas has been such a huge threat in teamfights. But that's what happens when an assassin gets shut down. And right now it's really hurting the enemy team, for hurting Manchester for having an assassin over a teamfight orientated champion like Orianna, who was actually banned in this game.
Yeah, and Orianna was a respect ban for the mid laner from MMGU, but he hasn't performed admirably as I thought he would on Zed. He has been shut down quite hard by the Gragas, who I think has played a really good game right now. Zed is one of those champions that I thought would perform a lot better in this tournament than he has, but I don't think I've seen a Zed win a game today. So he's not exactly been flavour of the month for this tournament. They're really putting a lot of resources in defending this bottom lane turret. And I don't know if the siege that Imperial has right now is going to be able to force them out, because the wave clear of MMGU is really quite good.
Yeah, well, they do have Baron, so that they can pressure and just harass and siege quite well. As you notice, the top lane is pushing down very, very hard, so it's just a matter of time before the defences of Manchester do crumble.
Yeah, and you've got to remember how big the Vayne is as well. He's just in the back trying to do that, all that damage that she can offer. Does look like they're going to back out of this one. Vayne currently taking time. Lee Sin goes in, does a bit of an insight, gets the 10% cripple onto everyone. Deathmark actually wasted on the Lee Sin, so now Vayne is left for free roaming across the entire team fight. Currently now, 2 dead on the Imperial side, but everyone is so low on the MMGU side, and that's just another complete cleanup for the Imperial team. And Vayne is actually doing a great job of just life-stealing off Zyra's plants to keep herself up, and I think she's going to push over for this inhibitor because it's only Zac available.
Even if it's just Zac available, they do have
looks
to...
Like it looks like they're going to go on into it. He needs to be really careful. He is pretty low right now. Looks like they're going up for another 30 seconds. Looks like Gragas tried to body slam onto him, didn't manage to get the slow on, but tries to go in and get a knock up onto the Zac. Looks like he's just going to pop his passive and he's going to get taken down probably by the Gragas, so that's an ace. Can they finish now? I'm not sure they can. Gragas is going to take the damage reduction from his drinking. drinking the brew. I think they're going to have to back out. I don't know if they can do this. It's 5 seconds till Zyra's up, 14 seconds till Zed's up, 12 seconds till Jax. Can they finish it up? This is going to be really clutch if they can. Zyra is currently walking out very slowly. Gragas uses the explosive cast to great effect there. Great X-Peke move from him. And that's another kill, another win going over to Imperial, and they're going to move on to our final.
Yeah, the final is going to be a very, very interesting match. Now we've seen the fact that Imperial have really shown their colours right here. Managing a team fight and have late game carries, you know, get in about there. They hit late game and they just went for it. And that was a really well deserved win for Imperial.
Yeah, and we'll try and get an interview with you guys. I don't know if they were too up for it when I heard them originally. I'll have a quick talk to them. I'll try and add the vein. And hopefully we'll get back to you soon with a good interview for you guys. Thanks for watching. We'll be over with the final very shortly. Should be taking place in the next 15 minutes or so. Thanks for all for watching.